Good evening, Winthrop, and welcome to the Winthrop Town Council meeting of December 7th, 2021. We are having the meeting here in the Harvey Hearing Room. It is being shown on WCAT, taped, and will be played during the next coming week. We are also on Zoom. To join us on Zoom, please call phone number 646-558-8656 and enter an ID number of 876-568-51160 #. And you can join us on Zoom. Okay? Denise, would you please do a roll call?
Council Ruggiero.
Yeah.
Council Flockhart. Here. Council DeMarco.
Here.
Council Lettieri.
Yeah.
Council Honan.
Here.
Council Farino.
Yeah.
Vice President Christopher.
Yeah.
President Boncory.
Here, there being a quorum, I declare the meeting opened and called to order. Would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, Councilor Ruggiero?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. I would now entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the November 23rd, 2021 meeting.
So moved.
Motion made by Council Flockhart. Is there a second? Councilor Honan seconds it. Any discussion on the motion? Are there any additions or deletions to the minutes? Any corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes say aye when your name is called.
Council Ruggiero.
Yes.
Councilor Flockhart.
Yes.
Council DeMarco.
Yes.
Councilor Lettieri.
I abstain.
Council Honan.
Yes.
Council Farino.
Yes.
Vice President Christopher.
Yes.
President Boncory.
Yes.
Thank you.
I also entertain a motion for the approval of minutes of June 22nd, 2021 of the executive session that was held on that day.
Motion.
Motion by Councilor DeMarco, seconded by Councilor Honan. Is there any discussion on those minutes? I believe the time has come that we can now approve them. The business has been completed. Any amendments? Any deletions, corrections? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye when your name is called.
Council Ruggiero.
Yes.
Council Flockhart.
Yes.
Council DeMarco.
Yes.
Council Lettieri.
No.
Council Honan.
Yes.
Council Farino.
Yes.
Vice President Christopher.
Yes.
President Boncory.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next, I would entertain a motion for the approval of the July 6th, 2021 executive session minutes as they were circulated. I believe the business of that meeting, executive session, is now complete. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion, Councilor Farino, seconded by Councilor Honan. Is there any discussion? Any amendments to it? Any corrections? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye when your name is called.
Council Ruggiero.
Yes.
Council Flockhart.
Yes.
Council DeMarco.
Yes.
Council Lettieri.
No.
Council Honan.
Yes.
Council Farino.
Yes.
Vice President Christopher.
Yes.
President Boncory.
Yes. Okay, we have no general information tonight. That'll come under Town Manager's report. We have no public hearings. I will now open the meeting for public comment for anyone in the audience that wishes to speak for 2 minutes. Oh,
2 or 3 minutes.
I think it's 2 minutes.
2 minutes tonight?
Yeah.
Thanks. I'd like to expand on the Finance Committee's meeting before this meeting. And there's a question that I had. The $50,000 would come from the sale of public property. And I'm wondering, after the $50,000 is expanded, how much money is left in that line item of sale of public property? That's a question. No, that's-
I won't give an answer, but there's 104,907 right now, so it would be roughly 54,000.
So if we spend 80, there'd be 20,000 less.
We spent 50.
If we spend 80, because it could go between 30 and 80,
Correct, I
And there'd
guess. Well, if you took the money from that,
you take up somebody else.
you could.
Okay, thank you. As far as the sale, hiring someone to spend $50,000, and I've mentioned this before, the land designated for sale, MBLU 3632, it's depicted on the town assessor's map. And it consists of the hockey rink, the gymnasium, and the auditorium. The assessor's GIS map is not to be used for the sale of land. And there's a disclaimer on the first page of that GIS system. They assume the GIS of the town assumes no responsibility for using the map that is designated in this proposal to spend $50,000. None. So I had a conversation with the town manager. He said some of that $50,000 would be used for a survey. I didn't hear that mentioned in the finance committee. Mr. Farino mentioned it a couple of times, but how much are we going to spend on this survey? I've said for 4 years that the survey should be done first, and then the discussion about selling that property would come after that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the audience for public comment? Yeah, Bob.
Bob Carroll, Precinct 6. Just coming to raise awareness about someone was supposed to come with me, so I'm winging it a little bit here. The neighbors of David Green have put together a Gofundme page for his honor and the honor of Miss Cooper from the events that happened in the past summer. Our goal is to raise about $20,000 that would be used for some design, but essentially a tree memorial along the streets of the area of the incident. That would pay for about 30 trees, labor, and some metal grates, some signage, maybe some bench. It's a little bit loose right now, and it all depends on how much we raise. The Gofundme page has been around for about 12 days, and we have $3,000 already. So I'm hoping that the town council can help raise awareness about it and just kind of get the word out. My network is kind of just about there right now, and I've bothered them enough, but I need to kind of expand beyond the folks that I know, and I would appreciate it. We're working with the Winthrop Tree Fund and the Winthrop Tree Committee, although I know Paul O'Donnell has had some hip surgery, so we had some trouble connecting this last week or so, but folks could send directly checks to them and just earmark it for the fund if they feel more comfortable, as opposed to using the Gofundme page. It's probably better that way as well. Just wanted to say, thanks, and hope we have your support for that. Thanks.
Thank you. That is on the agenda tonight, Bob.
Great.
Okay. Anyone on Zoom have a hand up?
No, they don't.
No one?
No.
Anyone else for public comment? Hearing none, then we will close this section of public comment and open up one later. Correspondence, Denise, what do we have for correspondence?
I've received no correspondence.
All right, moving on. Committee reports. Finance Committee?
Finance Committee met this evening. We had multiple items on the agenda. We did also have a joint meeting with Rules and Ordinance, and the item that was on the agenda for that was the amended fee schedule change for the treasurer's office. It only involved one item. It was changing a municipal lien certificate from $50 to $75 for a single to 4 family, which is brought forward to the council with positive recommendation. There was also on the Finance Committee, Individually, we had 5 items. The first one was tax classification for fiscal '23. And that was discussed as it is every year. We have to get tax bills out in a timely manner, and to do that, we have to agree on a tax classification if we were going to have one classification or multiple classifications. It was proposed to us by the assessor to have a single classification. There was several comments back and forth to look at the positive and negatives to going to a split rate in terms of residential versus commercial. After the discussion, it was recommended to us that we stay with the single tax classification, which we have, which in a 2-to-1 vote, we are recommending that the council enact. The major question there was what would be, the cost differential or savings potentially for a residential home versus a commercial property, and which has been talked about for several years right now. Winthrop's in a position where we have our tax base is 94% residential and a little under 6% commercial. So to have a split rate, which a lot of cities and towns like Boston and Revere and Peabody and Saugus would have, with their vast commercial space, it saves substantial money for residential owners. In Winthrop's situation, it would save the average residential owners, pennies on the dollar, under $10, and it would cost the average commercial piece of property, I guess, about $400 to $450. So, we thought as a committee, the majority of us thought that, that savings isn't substantial enough in any way, shape, or form to make it attractive, and the added cost would just be passed on, and in the end, it could end up costing the residents more money. So we are coming with positive recommendation on that to stay with the single tax classification.
Come into old business with all these recommendations.
We are.
Just wait till then?
If you'd like, that's fine with me.
Probably better than telling it twice.
Yep, well, we could tell it once now and then just vote, that's fine. So anyway, we had a long, eventful meeting, and we adjourned at 6:59. And we'll talk more about it in old business.
Yes. Rules and ordinance, you
Yeah.
just joined that same.
Yeah, we were actually first, and then they had their meeting, and then we had the joint meeting. So we met earlier to take up census data that came from us, to us from the local election district review commission out of the Secretary of State's office. So the idea behind this is every 10 years, once we get the new census data in, you need to reapportion your precincts, your local districts. We have precincts in Winthrop in proportion. So essentially what happened in Winthrop was that Precinct 1 grew faster than some precincts. Precincts 2 and 5 grew slower than the rest of the town. Proportionally, overall, the town grew by about 2,000 people, but growth in some areas were faster than others. So we need to sort of redraw the maps to make sure that all of our, that everything is proportional. So what happened was we have a little bit, we get a little bit bigger in Precinct 5, a little bit bigger in Precinct 2. Precinct 1 shrinks a little bit, and there's a little bit, a few other changes around the other areas of town. But essentially what this kicks off is a process where we send this map over to the Secretary of State's office, and then they go house by house and say, this is what house is going to be in what place. I don't want to frighten anybody to think that we're making massive changes here. We're really just talking about like 1 or 2 streets in each area. So in 95% of 99% of the people will still vote in the same places that they've always voted at, but there will be a couple of other changes, but this will all be posted well in advance, and none of these changes are going to be taking place until the next election for the town. So
Not the next election.
no,
Town election.
next town election. So the elections in December and January, you're still going to be voting in the same places. The town council will still have to vote to affirm what the Secretary of State sends to us as well. But that's pretty much what we took up, and it was approved. It was approved unanimously.
Okay. You'll be that recommendation under old business.
Yes.
Okay. Any other committees meet this past week? None, okay. Hearing none, we'll move right on to the town manager's report.
Good evening, everyone, and just want to start off by saying thank you to the council, the employees of the town, and of course, the citizens of the town for their support and condolences of the passing of my sister. My family and I appreciate everyone's thoughts and prayers. Thank you again. The COVID public health update, between 11/14 and 11/27, we have 81 confirmed cases that were reported. The percentage rate is up to 3.78. It's up from 2.6. But I think we all anticipated that, as we knew Thanksgiving, if you look at the historical tracks of data, last Thanksgiving we experienced the same thing. We'll experience it again in Christmas and New Year's, as long as people are gathering in large groups indoors, and then we'll see it come down in March. It's a historical trend at this point that I think we can predict. Again, we need some help on 5 to 11-year-olds, or just the most recent authorized at 3% vaccination rate. 12 to 15-year-olds, we're only at 67. We're trying to get to 80 in each category. And the 50 to 64s, 50 to 64s at 71%. So if you know people in those age categories, help us encourage them to get to the 80% level at the town. All the other categories have reached 79 or 80%. So we're doing very well. Saturday, December 4th, there was 220 doses of Pfizer for the age group of 5 to 11. Meredith Hurley and her team did. And then on Monday, December 6th, another 120 Moderna booster shots for adults were administered by Meredith Hurley and her team. Upcoming vaccine clinics, first, second, or booster, 12/8, 12 to 4, 12/13, 1 to 6, and 12/15, 12 to 4 p.m., all at the gym at St. John's, St. Michael's Parish, with Moderna shots.
Would you give those dates again? Because it's so
Sure.
important that people know they can go and get a booster shot, they can go get a second shot. We need to get over the hump.
This was, all of them going to be at St. Michael's Parish, St. John's Gym on Lincoln Street, and 12/8, 12 to 4 p.m., 12/13, 1 to 6 p.m., and 12/15, 12 to 4 p.m.
And you can get boosters at that time as well?
Yeah, you can get first, second, or boosters.
And it's no appointment, you just show up?
That's correct.
Is it
You
no
can
appointment?
make the appointments though, if you wish, but you can also show up.
Yeah. And thanks to Meredith for lining that up and getting us the booster shots and the Moderna shots in so that people can get vaccinated. She's been doing a great job with the kids and with the seniors. And now we got 3 more opportunities, so that's great. Please go down and get your shots. All right.
I would just encourage the council tonight, under the finance report, to vote in favor of the $449,825 grant from Mass Department of Public Health. It's an equitable response and public safety grant that'll allow us to co-respond. Winthrop Police have been co-responding since about 2013. This will significantly increase that program and help us meet police reform initiatives and mandates. And again, be happy to answer any questions when it comes up later. That's all I have for tonight, Mr. President. Thank you.
Anyone have any questions, Town Manager? Just wondering, how are we doing with the center?
Doing good.
Is it gonna be completely done except for the landscaping by the end of December?
The landscaping won't be done. The rink parking lot is gonna be pushed to the spring. And
Yeah, so-
Citizens Lot, right?
Yeah, Citizens Lot, Hagman Lot, the resurfacing of both lots will be done in the spring. The water service has been done at the rink, but the resurfacing work will be done in the spring as well. They're on, it's their intent, and they seem to be on schedule to have all the stamped concrete, which is the strips along the curb line, done this month. The only stamping that will be left will be in the area in the center of French Square, as where the seat wall is kind of affecting that. We're waiting on the 2 seat wall structures in French Square and in Savizzi's. They've been ordered. It's just a delay in receiving those seat walls. And then, exactly, the
plantings will occur. Through the winter, they'll be putting the barrels, furniture, weather dependent, they'll be doing those types of things. So we should be in good shape come spring. We've got a few more things done this month than I thought we would. I wasn't sure we were gonna get the Hagman Road drainage done. I wasn't sure we were gonna get the rink water work done, so that was positive.
Because I've been getting a lot of questions about where we are on it, and I wanted to hear it on TV. Any questions?
Just to, if I can, Councilor, just to piggyback on that, anything that's, with the seat walls, it's definitely affecting what can be done in terms of concrete work even, and there might be some concrete sections that are not able to be done, but everything will be pavement if it's not concrete, and then they'll rip it up in the spring, is
That's
that correct?
correct, yeah.
So
They
nothing
won't-
will
they
be left
Nothing will
dirt over the winter.
That's
I also believe there's seat walls across from CVS also, is there anything down there? On that, the corner opposite
There's a
CVS?
seat wall there
Yeah,
as
so
well,
there's,
Yeah.
so when you see disruptions in that it hasn't been concreted yet, that's the main cause of that. Also, just for the public, because I've heard people ask too, there will be a charging station at the Hagman Street parking lot,
That's
correct?
correct, yes.
So if you could just
Two
talk a
spots.
little about that?
Yeah, we've got the conduit in place, and it will be, it's the side of the parking lot adjacent to the bank. There'll be a double console charging station for two vehicles.
And there has been, they've been doing it over the last couple of days too, putting water services in, so when we do have the shrubberies and trees going in there, we will have a water source there, so it will enable us to maintain it
Right.
better.
French Square, the greenery in French Square will actually be sprinkled, with drip irrigation, and then the planting beds at Cervisi's, CVS,
Yep.
and Sweats will all have,
Water
we've installed what we call yard hydrants, and they're flush mounted, and you can hook a hose up to them and water.
Great.
And they will be working throughout the winter, weather dependent.
That's correct. Yes.
Now, would that make them responsible for plowing in the center over the winter?
It won't make them responsible for plowing, no.
Because I thought that was a condition that last year that,
If they were doing excavation work,
okay,
they were gonna maintain the roadways, but there's no excavation work this winter.
Okay, thank you, Stephen. Is that it, Kerry?
No, just a quick comment back with, is we should look at charging stations and ordinances in relative to that in preparation of those being installed in the spring. I think now's the time to look at that and see what parking regulations we want on those specific two spots. Now, I do have a motion for the next meeting to send the rules and ordinance. Peter can get it done maybe before he leaves. Just joking.
Lightning fast.
You have to real be fast, right? But you have to make it an emergency motion, huh? Okay, moving on to the school committee report. The Winthrop School Committee, we met last night here in the Harvey Room at 6 PM. We got some subcommittee reports as to what's been going on. Superintendent gave her report, and again, like with the town, there was an uptick in COVID cases. There were 11 students in the past week, again, due to the holiday, and no staff members. But in addition to getting your shots, once you get your shots, please, if you're still in school or you have school-age children, submit that data to the school department so they know. If the school department can get to 80% when they change, DESI's coming in on January 15th with a new recommendation as to whether or not they could wear masks in school or not. And if you want to make an application not to wear masks, you have to have each building at 80%. And the only way they can know if we're 80% or not is if the parents inform them, send in, a report. They have a place online where you can go fill in the report as to whether your students are vaccinated or not vaccinated and what stage of vaccination they are. The sooner we get to 80% in the schools, the better we'll all be off. Also, Santa Club donated $25 gift certificates to the school to disperse to needy families. So anybody that's in need, there are $25 food gift certificates donated by the Santa Club at the school. The Wasabi Technology also donated 100 tickets to Winthrop students, or suppose adults as well, to the Fenway Bowl. The Fenway Bowl is going to be happening on 12/29 at 11 o'clock in the morning. I guess if Virginia playing SMU, and it's an actual college bowl game. It's going to be being held in Fenway, and the school department has 100 tickets that they try to get out to students that are eligible to go, and they probably need some parents to take them, so if you're interested. They've been inundated lately with Freedom of Information Act requests. I think they got 3 or 4. They all seem to be coming from the same person, but it's really taking a toll on time-wise getting the information out, because they ask for, numerous cell phone conversations and so on. So that's taking up a lot of Lisa's time, and they're going to be looking for some money on the budget to hire someone to do some of the answering of these Freedom of Information Acts. Right now, she's doing them all herself. And that was the end of the school committee report. Anybody have any questions on that? Seeing none, we'll move on to old business. The first item on old business is the town council vote to authorize the town of Winthrop accept $449,825 in the form of a grant. You want to take that?
Sure, we did discuss this in finance. There were, as the town manager said earlier, he highly recommends this. This is going to enable us to accept the $449,000 and change grant. It's going to drastically improve the public health department and also some other issues that we're facing in town. With mental health and stuff, it's going to give us the opportunity to hire more people. There is some matching involved in this grant, but most of it is in-kind matching, so it's not going to affect us in any negative way in that term. The thing is, as in all grants, the thing that we have to be cognizant of is when the grant expires and what we do then. But it is we're extremely fortunate to be able to be awarded this grant. It's mostly to a lot of bigger cities and towns in the state, and we're very fortunate to be involved. I thank Meredith for all her hard work on this. And we did come back with a positive unanimous recommendation, and I will make a motion that the town council vote to authorize the town of Winthrop to accept and expend the amount of $449,825 in the form of a grant awarded by the Massachusetts Department of Health, Bureau of Community Health and Prevention, to be administered by the town of Winthrop's Public Health Department. This grant is for equitable approaches to public safety program or take any other action relative thereto. So it is a motion that did come out of
Committee.
finance with a positive recommendation, does not need a second.
Yep, since it came out of committee, it does not need a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Does anyone want to be heard on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye when your name is called.
Council Ruggiero?
Yes.
Council Flockhart?
Yes.
Council DeMarco?
Yes.
Council Lettieri?
Yes.
Council Honig?
Yes.
Council Farino?
Yes.
Vice President Christopher?
Yes.
President Boncory?
Yes, and thank you on behalf of Meredith and the police department for passing that. We've had a little uptick, not just in COVID, but also in some mental health situations and some drug overdoses, including a death this past week. So this money will go towards helping get people, an extra person or two to work, and if we can save one life, it's well worth it. So thank you. Next motion is council approve $50,000 from the sale of town property to a special article for the purpose of real estate consulting service related to the sale of the old middle school.
And that is staying in committee right now. The next item is the town council adopt amended treasurer's fees.
Okay.
And the treasurer fee, as I had discussed earlier, it's basically one fee. It concerns municipal lien certificates for 1 to 4 family. Above 4 family has always been 75, and they're just going to make them the same. So the request is to change a municipal lien certificate for a 1 to 4 family dwelling from $50 to $75. that does come out with positive recommendation.
A motion's been made to adopt the treasurer's fee from $50 to $75 for a municipal lien certificate. Coming out of committee, it does not need a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye when your name is called.
Counsel Ruggiero?
Yes.
Counsel Flacott?
Yes.
Counsel DeMarco?
Yes.
Counsel Lettieri?
Yes.
Counsel Honan?
Yes.
Counsel Frino?
Yes.
Vice President Christopher?
Yes.
President Boncory?
Yes. Okay, the next item is to town council appropriate consolidation of services from the town council personnel line item to town clerk's personnel line. You wanna take
Yeah,
that?
so, yeah, we will take it. We did discuss this in finance, and over the past month, there's been some changes, obviously, in duties and responsibilities. And the council clerk is now the town clerk, which is not reinventing the wheel. This has been done in the past. And we're trying to make it equitable and to help positions that have not been filled in the town clerk's office. So we're moving, the request here is to move the remainder of salary that's maintained in the council's budget to just move it to the town clerk's office for uniformity and such. This does come out with positive recommendation. The motion itself, I don't have a proper motion here, it's just more of a request. I guess the motion would be that the council moves that we transfer the amount of $21,282.94 from town council employee line item to the town clerk's permanent employee line item, or take any other action relative thereto. That does come out of committee with positive recommendation.
Therefore, it does not need a second. Is there any discussion on that motion? The $21,000 transfer? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye when your name is called.
Counsel Ruggiero?
Yes.
Counsel Flacott?
Yes.
Counsel DeMarco?
Yes.
Counsel Lettieri?
Yes.
Counsel Honan?
Yes.
Counsel Farino?
Yes.
Vice President Christopher?
Yes.
President Boncory?
Yes. Motion carries. Okay, moving on, the next thing is town council vote to transfer $5,000 from the town council reserve fund to the town manager's supply line for employee recognition.
Yes, this has been done in the past several years, and it was not done last year due to COVID. The town manager is asked to reinstitute the program, which we wholeheartedly agree with, and the motion is that the town council vote to approve the transfer of $5,000 from town council reserve to the town manager supply line for the purpose of funding the employee recognition program for the calendar year 21, or take any other action relative thereto. This did come out of committee with positive recommendation.
Therefore, it does not need a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye when your name is called.
Counsel Ruggiero?
Yes.
Counsel Flacott?
Yes.
Counsel DeMarco?
Yes.
Counsel Lettieri?
Yes.
Counsel Honan?
Yes.
Counsel Farino?
Yes.
Vice President Christopher?
Yes.
President Boncory?
Yes. Motion carries. Next thing is tax classification for fiscal year '22. I believe that also was in finance.
That was in finance. It's actually, and it was a misspelling on the, miswriting on the agenda. I think it's for fiscal year '23, and this is that the town council maintains a uniform tax rate for all classes of property for fiscal '23. Authorize interim town manager Delahanty to sign and electronically submit the LA5 to the Department of Revenue, and the town council approves electronic signature to this document on behalf of the town councilors. This comes out with positive recommendation. This is, we've talked to the assessor on this, we've talked to the interim town manager on this, and this is something that we're, again, as I stated earlier, we're in a somewhat unique position with such a small percentage of commercial real estate in town, roughly making up of 5.7 or 8% of the tax revenue, and it's just not, the assessor believes, and I wholeheartedly agree, it's just such a minute amount to have a split rate. It really doesn't benefit anyone. So we have agreed, and it did come out with a 2-to-1 recommendation to maintain a uniform classification. So we do, it did come out with positive recommendation.
It did come out with, of committee, at least 2 votes, so therefore it does not need a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Council Ruggiero?
Yes.
Council Flacott?
Yes.
Council DeMarco?
No.
Council Lettieri?
Yes.
Council Honan?
Yes.
Council Farino?
No.
Vice President Christopher?
Yes.
President Boncory?
Yes. Motion carries. All right, moving on, we now go to the Public Safety Committee. I mean, no, we're not talking about public safety, we didn't have a meeting, right?
Oh.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is the 2020 re-precincting map.
You only chaired it for 20 years.
Huh?
You only chaired it for 20 years.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so, as passed out of the committee, I would like to make a motion to accept the changes to the precinct map, which was submitted to us by the town clerk, and submit to the local election district review commission.
Okay, a motion has been made
I'll second that.
to accept that, come out of committee. Come out of committee, doesn't need a second. Okay, and this is to the Local Elections District Review Commission, and we have to sign this if we are passing that tonight. So all those in favor, please signify by saying aye when your name is called.
Council Ruggiero?
Yes.
Council Flacott?
Yes.
Council DeMarco?
Yes.
Council Lettieri?
Yes.
Council Honan?
Yes.
Council Farino?
Yes.
Vice President Christopher?
Yes.
President Boncory?
Yes. Motion carries. I'm gonna pass this to each of you to be signed. And I believe we are finished with old business. And we'll move on to new business. The first item on new business is the town council vote the use of retained earnings in the water sewer fund in the amount of $175,000 for the repair of a leaking water main at the intersection of Revere Street and Crest Ave. I am gonna send that to the finance committee.
Yes.
You have not seen that yet, right?
No.
Okay, so that will go to the finance committee for the next meeting on the 21st. All right, the second thing is a resolution that was brought forward to us, and the resolution is to endorse the living memorial for David Green and Ramona Cooper. I think this was submitted by Councilors Ruggiero and Councilor Honan. Do one of you want to take and read this, or?
Sure, I can read it. I'll read it and then speak to it, and is the intention tonight to vote on this, or are we planning to send it to committee? It's a resolution.
It's a
I'm not sure
resolution,
if-
it's not a motion for action, so I think we can vote on it tonight.
Okay.
You got a question on that, Council President? Is this for the, this is for the park, so, would this go to the Memorials Committee, just for their approval?
Let me read it, and then I
And
think
then
we
we'll-
can discuss maybe, and then
This is a resolution on the trees, right?
Yeah.
Not the dog park, the trees.
the trees.
All right, it says a living memorial.
Go ahead,
Just-
go ahead, read it,
I'll
and then
go
we'll
from there.
discuss.
All right, resolution endorsing the living memorial for David Green and Ramona Cooper, respectively submitted by Councilor Stephen Ruggiero, Precinct 6, and Tracy Honan, Councilor at Large. Whereas, on Saturday, June 26th, the town of Winthrop was saddened by a horrific hate crime that took the lives of 2 dear friends and neighbors, Mr. David Green and Ms. Ramona Cooper. And whereas, on July 1st, at the candlelight vigil for Unity and Hope on the Town Hall lawn, attended by Governor Charlie Baker, Lieutenant Governor Karen Politer, Suffolk County District Attorney Rachel Rollins, Sheriff Stephen Tompkins, State Senator Joe Boncory, former House Speaker Bob DeLeo, State Representatives Jeffrey Turco, Adrian Modero, and Jessica Giannino, Council President Phil Boncory, members of the Winthrop Town Council, and thousands of friends, family, and community members of Mr. Green and Ms. Cooper. Town officials promised the families of both victims that, quote, their loved ones were not lost in vain, and, quote, we won't remember them tonight, we'll remember them next week, next month, and next year. And whereas neighbors of Mr. Green and Ms. Cooper have coordinated with the town administration to appropriately honor the lives of Mr. Green and Ms. Cooper in the form of a living memorial. And whereas the private fundraising efforts which have been vetted by the town administration for this memorial are underway, and it is anticipated that all costs associated with the memorial are to be addressed through this grassroots community-driven campaign. And whereas the families of Mr. Green and Ms. Cooper have been contacted by the organizing neighbors and the town and are supportive of the plans. Therefore, be it resolved that the Winthrop Town Council hereby endorses the plans of the neighbors to install a living memorial comprised of newly planted trees along Shirley Street between Cross Street and Beach Road with a corresponding memorial plaque in remembrance of Mr. Green and Ms. Cooper. And be it further resolved that the Winthrop Town Council supports the private fundraising efforts being managed by the friends and neighbors of Mr. Green and Ms. Cooper in coordination with the Winthrop Tree Committee, which has been vetted by the town administration. And be it further resolved that the Winthrop Town Council authorizes the town manager to take any other action relative thereto in support of this matter.
So a motion for a resolution has been made by Councilor Ruggiero and seconded by Councilor Honan. Is there any discussion on the resolution? Councilor Farino.
I would, I'm in support of this.
Yeah.
But I think it should go through proper channels, which we established a memorials committee about, 14 years ago. It's just one more step, but to do it in a manner that is, conducive to our bylaws. I think it should go through that process, and, you could probably vote on this tonight, and then, have it go through the proper channels that it needs to go through, I believe.
I believe this memorial is a wall of trees that they plan on putting in front of the area where the events happened. And I think it's been vetted by the tree committee. I suppose we can
With the
also have.
2007 formation of the Memorials Committee, specifically it says the naming of town property. So the trees are, you can consider them town property, but they're being donated. A private fund is creating them, and they're not the typical property that I think the Memorials Committee spoke of when Council President Riley enacted that committee through this council. But again, they're an advisory committee. Council doesn't have to send it. Anything they decide has to be vetted by this council, and they have the right to overturn it, much like TSAC. So they just want to make sure everyone's thinking the same way, that's all.
Yeah, I was on that committee for 15 years. As a courtesy to these members of the committee, I think it's the proper way to go about it as a subservient, this committee that's established to vote on these types of things, that's all. And I'm sure that, with a recommendation from the council, in passing this resolution, that, it would be the right thing to do.
I see your point. I just wanted to point out I did some digging into the Memorials Committee as part of this project. I just want to make sure everyone understands.
I remember writing that memorials committee, so I know you're right from what you said. But let's go.
Yeah, you wrote it.
Yeah. Let's go forward. Is there any other discussion on the motion? I think the motion
I'd
could be
just like
put.
to speak to the resolution, if I may. So just the history behind this, again, this is a community-driven, grassroots push. Mr. Carroll spoke during public comment, and really this is coming from the neighbors, and what I think the neighbors are looking for here, and is really just the advertising and the endorsement of, it's a lot to ask folks to take money out of their pocket to contribute to something. So by us endorsing it and putting whatever social capital that we have left behind this, I think that it would kind of advance this a little bit further. We had thousands of people here supporting the families on the vigil, and so we kind of want to keep that momentum going. And I think that the whole idea of trees and growth and sort of recovery, and I think that's a really thoughtful way of doing it in that area. And I don't know if it's appropriate, but if I could yield some of my time, I know that two of the organizing members are here. I'm not sure if that's allowed, Council President, but.
No, I don't
Okay,
think
that's
so.
fine.
I don't think so. I
That's
think
fine.
we heard from Bob already.
We
and
heard from Bob, I know.
So I think we'll go forward
Okay.
with a vote,
And-
right? If there's no other discussion from the council, we'll go forward with the vote.
And the intention was not to sidestep any
Yeah,
process, again,
no.
just to publicly advertise
I
this
know
and
there was
draw
no
attention.
intention, but I just,
And I suppose we could have the Morris Committee look at the plaque that's going on there to make sure it's appropriate, so that's fine. All those in favor of the resolution, please signify by saying aye when your name is called.
Council Ruggiero?
Yes.
Council Flockhart?
Yes.
Council DeMarco?
yes.
Council Lettieri?
Yes.
Council Honan?
Yes.
Council Farino?
Yes.
Vice President Christopher?
Yes.
President Boncory?
Yes. Okay.
Great job.
Resolution carries. Thank you very much. The next resolution is a resolution, I don't know, we're coming by Councilor Christopher. And the resolution is to recognize the dog park being named in honor of Michael McDuffie, a past councilor who pushed hard for a dog park. Do you want to read your resolution?
Sure, I think, I might wanna do it at the next meeting, just after it goes through the committee's process and everything. I think that would be more appropriate. So if we could just send it to committee, I think that would be fine.
Okay, motion has been made by Council Christopher to
Send it to them.
resolve that the Winthrop Town Council recognize the dog park, which is currently under construction on Veterans Road, be named in honor of Michael McDuffie. I will send that to the Rules and Ordinance Committee.
Memorials, I think.
Memorials.
Well, he asked to go to the memorials.
Okay, all right. All right, does the Memorials Committee meet regularly?
You can contact Rose and have her.
Okay, because I want to have this back by the next meeting, the 21st.
All right,
So can we get them, can we make it a joint meeting with the Rules
I'd be
and
happy to be
Ordinance
there.
and Memorials Committee so that they know what's going on? I don't think they're aware of this right now. Okay? All right, so we'll send that to a joint committee, so that way there's some organization running it and getting the notice out to the Memorials Committee. Okay? All right, is there any other new business to come before the council? Hearing none, we will now open up again for public comment. Is there any public comment? Okay, young lady, would you identify yourself? and
Yeah,
Speak
my
up.
name is Grace Kingsbury. I'm in precinct 6. I'm also one of the neighbors organizing the tree memorial for David Green. So I do just want to express my gratitude for the support that you just expressed, and also for the dozens of Winthrop community members who have already contributed. I know this is going to be a meaningful memorial, and I'm happy to see it getting more traction. That's it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Can I just address, and can you just make sure everybody's aware of how to get to the Gofundme page? And
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you would go to, the easiest way is to go to Gofundme.com. I would search Ramona Cooper's name because her name is less common. When you search David Green, a number of people show up. So you would look for specifically a memorial dedicated to David Green and Ramona Cooper, and you will be able to donate there. When you contribute through GoFundMe, you can use either PayPal or a credit card. In so doing, though, a processing fee is deducted. If you would prefer to donate directly to the town of Winthrop, and then a memo indicate that this is going to go to the tree committee, I've also been alerted that that is acceptable as well.
Okay, so checks can be made out to the town of Winthrop
But if
and
it
brought
needs-
here.
yeah.
And GoFundMe is on Facebook or Twitter or?
just gofundme.com.
Just,
I've also ordered a number of postcards with all of that information on them. So I and other neighbors will be distributing those around Winthrop soon, but they're just not in yet.
Okay,
I'm actually on the Gofundme page right now. It took 2 seconds. All you have to do is search for Ramona Cooper's name. It's the first thing that comes up.
okay, thank you. All right, I see Peter Gill's got his hand up.
Yes, Peter?
Unmute yourself.
Peter, can you hear us?
Are you on, Peter?
There you go.
Yep, you're coming through. Speak up loudly, though. Peter, are you on?
How's that? You got me now?
Yes.
Okay. I'm calling as a member of the Housing Authority. As you know, the state has passed a law that the Housing Authority must have in its membership a resident. And the process of doing that is once a vacancy occurs, a person will be appointed by the joint meeting of the town council and the housing authority. We do have a vacancy effective December 31st, and we do have two applicants to take over that position, both being tenants. Those two applicants were endorsed and presented by the tenant review board. What I'm asking is if you to consider for your next agenda to appoint, along with the joint meeting of the tenants to be added to the Housing Authority Board of Directors. A couple of reasons. It will not leave us short because the new person's assignment would be effective January 1. So there will be no lag time. But equally important, I think, is that Housing Authority would like to have this person sworn in the official swearing in ceremony as always been in the past.
On January 15th.
Bottom line is, we'd like to ask the council to consider a joint meeting for your next, we'll do it at the beginning of your meeting, however. So bottom line is, we would like to have, before the first of the year, a joint meeting with the housing and the council to make an appointment of the tenant member to the regular board of the Fiscal Housing. Thank you.
Okay, Peter, we are having a joint meeting before our next council meeting on December 21st with the school committee to do an election of a school committee person. And I know that we had to put a 30-day notice out for that. Is the situation the same with the housing authority? Do we have to put a notice out?
I don't believe so. I think you have to have it on your agenda, and we put it on our agenda. We don't know of any 30-day notice required. Because this is not an election by the people.
Right.
This is an election by, appointment.
Yeah, but it's a state agency as well, and federal funds, so.
Look into it if it's possible. We'd like to do it. If you can't do it for some reason, we understand.
No,
If somebody could-
I would attempt to do it on the 21st as well, and just stagger the meetings a half hour apart, and have joint meetings, if that's possible with.
I'll check with the director, Peg Lyons, in the
Yeah.
morning, and
Check
make sure
to
she
make sure
provides
there
us
is
the.
no notice
Yep.
requirement like there was with school committee for 30 days.
Absolutely.
All right, and if it has to be in the paper for a week, or two, we gotta get it in. All right, Peter, we'll try to accommodate the housing authority.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
If somebody could just get back to me and let me know what it's for.
Yeah, we will. We'll
Thank you.
probably be doing them like 6:30, and then the council meeting at 7, okay? On the 21st. Okay, thank you. Anyone else on public comment?
Thank you. Jack Dow, Precinct 3. I'm reading from document received from the town clerk on December 23rd, 2020. And it's from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Superior Court. And it's a verified complaint pursuant to MGL laws. The complaint is from Robert Carroll. This is an action pursuant to Winthrop zoning bylaws, chapter 17, pursuant to MGL laws, to annul a decision by the town of Winthrop Board of Appeals, granting a variance on the MGL laws and the town of Winthrop zoning bylaws to permit JB Capital LLC to construct a mid-rise apartment building which will violate the town's core principles and would be detrimental to the immediate neighbors and surrounding neighborhood by increasing congestion, noise, traffic, and would negatively affect the quality of life in the area. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. Is there anyone else to speak in public comment? Hearing none, you have any public relations events other than the election? Now, the election is being held on November 14th. I mean, December 14th, I'm sorry, I'm back at our election.
You want to read it?
The election is being held on December 14th to fill the special senator's seat. Both the Democratic ballots and the Republican ballots are now in. They are at Town Hall. If you'd like to come into Town Hall and vote on either ballot, you can now do that. At our last meeting, the Republican ballots were not in yet, but they are now in. So you're welcome to come into Town Hall and vote early. If not, there will be an election on 12/14 from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. So make sure you get out and vote. There are a couple of other events that are happening in the school. I think they're having a skate, right? You have the information on this youth skate. I think it's coming up this weekend. There's also the Winthrop Middle School is doing another production. This is the middle school production of Frozen Junior. So if you get tickets and support our middle school kids and join in on the skate event.
Skating was last Saturday.
Skating was last
Last
Saturday
Sunday.
with Santa.
It was skating with Santa?
Last Sunday.
Yeah.
It was Sunday?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was out there.
Go ahead. Were you there?
I was there.
All right. Does anyone know of any other parties coming up? Have an event. Stephen?
Couple thank yous and a couple events. I want to thank the Winthrop Foundation. I know they funded the lights at the Crest Ave Park again. That's very well received in our neighborhood, so thank you to them. I want to thank the DPW. I believe some pruning has been done on the trees at the Crest Ave Park, and I know that's another request that came from the neighbors, so thank you, Steve. I also want to thank and plug the Winthrop Police Toy Drive that's going on. I know that it was on Sunday at the Coming School Loop, but for those of you who couldn't make it, there's a collections box in the police department main lobby right now. I'm not sure when and how long they're collecting toys for, but another great cause that I know that the department works hard on. And last, another toy drive. Representative Adrian Modero in East Boston, he usually runs the Easties Elves program. The past 2 years it's been canceled, or not canceled, but rearranged due to COVID. So this year there are drop-off boxes at certain locations throughout Winthrop, Revere, and East Boston, and all of these unwrapped toys will go to folks who are underprivileged in all of these communities who are looking for holiday gifts during this season in Winthrop. There are drop-off locations at 155 Veterans Road, which is Aesthetics by Gianna, 130 Grover's Ave, which is the Winthrop Arms, 1 Main Street, which is Belle Isle Seafood, 89 Veterans Road, which is the Jessica Gordon Academy of Performing Arts, 11 Somerset Ave, which is the Book Depot, and 21st Century After School Program, which is within the Coming School from 3 to 5. So, please get involved if you have the resources to do so and help out those that are a little less fortunate.
Does anyone else have any public information, public announcements? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion by Councilor DeMarco, seconded by Councilor Flockhart. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We are adjourned.